Well, hello everyone, and welcome to week 2 of our course together. We have a few things to go over that we haven't had to deal with in week 1, so let's get started. Well, let's first begin with our week in the history of American politics. This particular event was an incident that occurred prior to the creation of the United States Constitution. The incident occurred because of reneged promises made to veterans of the American Revolution, and the first significant incident that challenged the perceived powers of the individual states. And you guessed it, it's Shays' Rebellion begins on August 29th, 1786. Daniel Shays was a former Continental Army captain. Wow, that was kind of a mouthful for some reason. And he led a group of upset Western Massachusetts residents who were distressed about the way the state government was handling their wartime debt and high taxes. In some cases, Army veterans who had never received pay for their service to the country saw their property seized. On September 2nd, 1786, Massachusetts Governor James Bowdoin issued a proclamation recapping the scene on August 29th. And when Shays' group arrived at the Court of Common Pleas in Northampton, Bowdoin stated that, quote, a large concourse of people from the I'm reading from notes, so please forgive me, from several parts of that county assembled at the courthouse, and many of whom were armed with guns, swords, and other deadly weapons, and with drums beating and fifes playing, in contempt and open defiance of the authority of the government, did by their threats of violence and keeping possession of the courthouse until 12 o'clock on the night of the same day. The protesters later seized several other local courts after the state government refused to consider debt relief provisions. Shay then led a force of about 1,500 former soldiers and farmers in an attempted raid on the Springfield Armory on January 26, 1787. The group was intercepted on the day before its planned attack. 4 protesters died in a brief conflict with the militia, and the group dispersed. Later on, Shays will be arrested and tried for treason and convicted of treason in the state of Massachusetts, not in the United States, because we're still under the Articles of Confederation. So he was convicted of treason and he was held without bail. And later, in the first administration of George Washington, he was pardoned. So, what are the political ramifications of Shays' Rebellion? Well, basically, it started the ball rolling towards the Convention of Philadelphia that wrote the United States Constitution. Now, we must remember, and you're going to find out in your reading for this week, that the Philadelphia Convention wasn't supposed to write a new document. It was only supposed to rewrite the Articles of Confederation. And we'll find out later that there's a good deal of the founders that weren't part of the convention. Now, some that were, but a good deal that weren't, that were waiting to see what was going to happen, felt like all the states lost power because of the United States Constitution, and it consolidated a central power. And you're going to read about that this week. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, the pre-course assessment that was assigned in week 1, you still have an opportunity to take the pre-course assessment this week. It will close on Sunday, September 5th at midnight. Okay? So if you still want the opportunity to take some bonus points, or just to simply grab some data for us to look at and to see how a new student that comes to the department, how much political science knowledge they have, you still have that opportunity. I really would encourage you to do so. But it is your choice, but there is a chance that you can make some bonus points, all right? So it is up to you, but I strongly encourage you to take the pre-course assessment. All right, everyone. Discussion 1 last week was simply the introduction of the student introductions. This week we're getting into the nuts and bolts of what the discussions are. And our first discussion topic is Path to the Constitution, which is the topic of the week. So in your reading, you're going to find out some things. However, in the discussion 2, as well as all discussions, you get your information and your comments and your opinions from the 2 lectures you're going to watch. Okay? Now, to do your discussion, it should be at least 150 words, and you also must respond to one student's original post, and that should be at least 100 words. I can only grade them I will not grade them until your original post and your student response is posted. If you choose not to go to a student response and do that part of it, you'll receive a 0 for the assignment. So remember, you do your discussion post first, and then you comment on another student's discussion. Now, we aren't personal. We aren't looking to embarrass anyone. You just say if you agree or disagree and give the reasons. Or you could just comment on how well read they seem to be. However you want to do that, I don't have a problem. My problem will be if you get personal. And if you get personal, I will give you a 0 for the quiz, for the discussion. Okay? So the directions there are at the bottom of the slide. So just follow the directions. And remember, this is the only subjective grade that I will have for you in this course. So I will have a rubric that will be aligned with what you've got, and that's what I'll grade it by. And after I grade it, I will make comments on it, and then I will also email you with the rubric and the graded rubric that I used. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, just like last week, you had chapter 1, but this week you have 2 chapters to read, chapters 2 and 3, and there'll be a quiz at the end of these chapters. If you want credit for the quizzes, you must completely do the reading and do the complete quiz. If you do it partially, you'll receive a 0. You must complete the reading assignment and the quiz itself. All right? And at the bottom, there is at the slide, that's how to the directions in taking it. Okay? If you have any problems or questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. All right, the video lectures. There are 2 video lectures this week. Excuse me, I'm not speaking clearly today. There are 2 video lectures assigned for discussion 2. The first one is entitled Constitution 101. It's by Hillsdale College professor. And then the second one is Creating a Constitution as part of the Yale series. Okay? Remember, these video lectures are to be used as information for the discussions. Do not quote your readings in the discussions, only the video lectures. The textbook is not to be used as information and I'm just reading the bottom of the slide. So remember, it's the video lectures you need to watch and comment on. All right? If you have any questions, as always, contact me. Well, that should do it for week 2 and the expectations. Good luck on your work this week. I know you're going to do a great job. And I think it would be a good idea that we should pretend it's raining donuts, because in my dreams, it is always raining donuts. All right, guys, have a great week. If you have any problems, questions, comments, situations, do not hesitate to contact me during my office hours. You call, and off hours you can use my email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, guys, have a great week.